Hi, my name is Melissa Moore and I'm here to share with you a lesson plan using your Lumens Ladibug document camera. This lesson plan is called Nonfiction versus Fiction, and you're going to want to teach your students the difference between nonfiction and fiction using spider books. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but I'm going to tell you about the things that you're going to need for your classroom. You're definitely going to need your Lumens Ladibug document camera, your LCD projector, your interactive whiteboard or screen, and of course all Lumens Ladibug document cameras integrate with interactive whiteboards, all of them. We'll also need your Venn diagram, which is right up here on the board, and you'll need a KWL chart that I will go over in a moment, and a variety of non-fiction and fiction spider books. And like I said, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. What you're going to want to do when you start off your lesson is to build background knowledge with your students. You're going to ask them what type of books they read. You're going to ask them why they read, for fun, for information, for school, and that's going to start a discussion with your students about books in general. And then you're going to ask them what they know about nonfiction books and fiction books. And that's where the Venn diagram comes into play. So with your Venn diagram, you put it up on your whiteboard for the whole class to see right underneath your Lumens Ladibug document camera. And of course you can zoom in as much as you'd like so that they can see everything. Now if you have an interactive whiteboard, you can write on it right here in front of the class, put your nonfiction and fiction, and ask for the characteristic of nonfiction and fiction books, things that they've read. And of course the middle is also for what they share together. You can talk about that for a few minutes. If you don't have an interactive whiteboard, if you have a regular whiteboard, you could also write under here, or because you have a document viewer, document camera, you can write under here. You can write right under here exactly what you want for the students. You can even have a student come up to your interactive whiteboard and write on your board, or come right here and write their answer on the Venn diagram. Now what you're going to want to do next is go over some vocabulary with your students. And I have that right here. And again, you can zoom in with your remote or manually. And as you can see, once I zoom in, the autofocus works by itself. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, there's two white buttons at the top. You click them at the same time and it will autofocus for you. But most of the time it does it by itself. Now, if you were going to do vocabulary, I would, if it was younger students, like my kindergartner, I would probably put it up here and just tell them what's up here. So I have nonfiction. The synonym is fact, and I would use it in a sentence. If I had older students and I was using an interactive whiteboard with my Lumens Ladibug document camera, I would just put nonfiction, fiction, table of contents, index, and glossary up on the board, and I'd let them come up to the board and write their answers, so the students will be engaged while I'm teaching my lesson. Now, after vocabulary, what you're going to want to do then is use your KWL chart. And this is what the students know already, what they want to know, and what they've already learned. And again, if you have an interactive whiteboard, you can use that and have the students come up. Or if you have a pen, you can write underneath here what you want to talk about. So if we're talking about spider books, we want to introduce to the class that we're going to be looking at nonfiction and fiction spider books and ask them what they think or what they know about fiction spiders. What do they do in those type of books? Some of them will give you answers like drive cars, or eat cake, or look like humans, things like that. So that's what you're going to want to do, is write here fiction and then write what they know about fiction spiders. Then when you talk about nonfiction spiders, and this is before you pass out your books, you put nonfiction down at the bottom, and then you're going to ask your students, what do they know about nonfiction spiders? If you've already gone over that it's fact and information for non-fiction books, then you're going to go with your students and they're going to tell you what they know about nonfiction spiders. So you might get some crazy answers like 20 eyes and 20 legs, etc., etc. But you're going to want to know those things, especially if you have 5 kids coming up with different answers about the legs or the hair on the body. So you're going to want to learn that in your discussion with nonfiction and looking at the books. So what do I want to know? After we've done this column, we're going to kind of move it all down to talk about after they've filled in the what I know section, you're going to want to summarize what you want to know after you look at the books. So of course, if your students have all talked about different eyes, you're going to want to say, okay, so for nonfiction spiders, we're going to want to know about the eyes. How many are there? Legs, etc. And then fiction spiders. Do fiction spiders actually eat cake or drive cars? So that will be here, and you'll talk that. At the end, you'll go over what I learned. After you've shown your students the vocabulary and talked about your KWL chart, you're going to want to show them a few of the books that you're going to pass out to them. This is I'm a Little Spider by Marta Prins and Nuria Roca, and it has nice drawings, and I'm going to put that under here so you can actually see it a little bit better and zoom out. So I want my students to see what they're going to get. They're going to get a couple nonfiction books, and it's going to tell them about the spiders. It's going to show different things about them. Now this is more of a storybook, but you're going to have the actual facts and things about spiders. This does have a lot of information on here, especially as you can see the mama spider with the egg sac. Now, as you can see, it's got great color quality, and if you had not a fiction spider book, which I don't have at the moment, but I've got Miss Spider here. She has lots of books, and she does a lot of human things, and the students very much know about Miss Spider. Of course, if they don't, then you should get a book and read it to them, because this will talk all about her. But that's Miss Spider, and I can't find my little Miss Spider book, but she drives cars and drinks tea and things like that. So after you've shown them the type of books that they're going to get, you're going to want to put that KWL chart back up so that your students can see what you've already written up there. And then you're going to give them 10 minutes to peruse the books that you've passed out to them. You're going to ask them to find out information to answer the questions for what I want to know, so that you can put in what I learned. There's a few questions. I'll tell you what those questions are. You're going to ask them if their prediction was confirmed. That's what I want to know, or what I know. And then what we want to know, we want to ask them if their prediction was confirmed. Now, did you find one thing interesting about fiction spiders that nonfiction spiders cannot do? Now, these are questions that you can ask them while they're in discussion with their fellow classmates while they're looking at the books. And they're, like I said, they're going to answer the question for what I want to know, and we'll write what I learned at the end of the lesson. So like I said, give them 10 minutes, then talk to them and guide the discussion, and then say, did we learn that a spider has 8 legs? Did we learn that a spider has 20 eyes? And then you can answer those questions and write them up at the board, or even have the students write them up at the board. I hope you've enjoyed this video and lesson plan. Please stay tuned for more.